Hello, welcome to Awaken Within. This is day 4. Today I'd like to discuss fear. Fear is a thing that comes up in life for everyone. And I've been working with it in a way to figure out why I'm afraid of the things I am, especially when there's been nothing in my life to really prompt those feelings. So I will use an example later on of what I've been doing to kind of move through that emotion. This show itself is something that is helping me face fears that I've had. Being vulnerable and just putting myself out there just in any way has been challenging, starting from a child. If you called on me to read in class, I would immediately just turn bright red, shut down, start choking on words, not dyslexic I wasn't, but then I automatically would just start not being able to speak. So it's interesting how we go through those points in our life. Then it was reading in front of the class, being called on, just being the center of attention at all was frightening. So this is kind of my way of being vulnerable and moving through fears that I have. I feel like I bring a lot to the table in life just because I'm just seeking ways of improving myself, and I know that improving myself is in a way improving the world, because the only way we can change the world has been changing ourselves. So that's what I'm doing. I found a couple quotes today that were really relevant to what I'm talking about. I'll just start reading them. So these are about fear and moving through it. Find out what you are afraid of and go live there. That's by Chuck I even looked up the pronunciation on YouTube. Palahniuk. Chuck Palahniuk. I'm going with that. That's a good quote. And then, ultimately, we know deeply that the other side of every fear is freedom. That's by Marilyn Ferguson. I can remember that. And then, everything you want is on the other side of fear. That's by Jack Canfield. So, those are some good quotes. And also, I'm being the realest version of myself right now because I'm not editing any of this stuff, and so you know how imperfect I am, which I'm getting to the point where I don't care about that, and that's awesome. So an example of fear for me that I experienced earlier today, I've been starting this business, working with a teacher, mentor, and it's using my abilities, healing, intuition. I get stuff for people, through people, from people. I work with their spirit, and it's something that I've done since I was really young. But being in front of people and even admitting that there is, gifts that we have, that we all have these gifts. But just admitting that for me brings up insecurity and vulnerability. So this is something I've been working on with myself, and I'm in the process of starting this business. So I'm thinking about this business earlier and how it all works, how payments happen, how this happens, how that, and then a little voice in my head started telling me, oh, well, like, what if you're charging too much, or what if what if people don't want to pay, or what if you get some crazy weirdos that come, and like just all these things that come up. And for a moment I was buying into this conversation in my head, but then I realized that it was coming from my ego. So instead of being like, okay, no, push it aside, I don't want to think about this anymore, I'm just done thinking about this, I asked, ego, what are you trying to teach me in this situation? Why is this coming up? And immediately it was trust. And I was like, okay, why do I have this issue with trust? And then the immediate response was, you acquired it in childhood. Your parents didn't trust people, they're afraid, they put this fear in you, so you have a hard time trusting. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. I can see stuff like that being in my childhood. What light can you shine on this situation? And the response was basically shining light on the situation in the first place is what helps move you through the fear. So I did a little prayer, just giving thanks for this fear coming up and showing me that I had an issue with trust. And that was it. And I felt relief from it. And I'm not saying that I'm forever done not having trust issues or whatever, but I feel like I'm moving through that, and just recognizing like the ego, being the observer to it and not identifying with it. This is something that I've been working on for years at this point, and it's a daily challenge. Challenges are fun, and they're here for a reason. They're here to help us grow and learn. So I would suggest asking your ego, or that voice that comes in telling you you're worthless and or other people suck, and just separating you from each other. It's a voice that's trying to tell you something. So there's ways that you can use the ego to heal yourself, to grow and learn. So that helped me. I hope it helps you. I'm going to leave you with a poem by Rumi. This is my favorite poem by Rumi, and it's relevant to this topic. So here it goes. It's called Checkmate, and this is found in the Essentials of Rumi book. Highly suggest reading it. So here goes. Borrow the beloved's eyes. Look through them and you'll see the beloved's face. Everywhere. No tiredness, no jaded boredom. I shall be your eye and your hand and your loving. Let that happen, and things you have hated will become helpers. A certain preacher always prays long and with enthusiasm for thieves and muggers that attack people on the streets. Let your mercy, O Lord, cover their insolence. He doesn't pray for good, but only for the blatantly cruel. Why is this? His congregation asks. Because they have done me such generous favors. Every time I turn toward the things they want, I run into them. They beat me and leave me nearly dead in the road. And I understand again that what they want is not what I want. They keep me on the spiritual path. That's why I honor them and pray for them. Those that make you return for whatever reason to God's solitude, be grateful for them. Worry about the others who give you delicious comforts that keep you from prayer. Friends are enemies sometimes, and enemies friends. There is an animal called an ushguru, a porcupine. If you hit it with a stick, it extends its quills and gets bigger. The soul is our porcupine, made strong by stick beating. So a prophet's soul is essentially afflicted because it has to become so powerful. A hide is soaked in tanning liquor and becomes leather. If the tanner did not rub it in acid, the hide would get foul-smelling and rotten. The soul is a newly skinned hide, bloody and gross. Work on it with manual discipline and the bitter tanning acid of grief, and you'll become lovely and very strong. If you cannot do this work yourself, don't worry. You don't even have to make a decision one way or another. The friend who knows a lot more than you do will bring difficulties and grief and sickness. As medicine, as happiness, as the essence of the moment when you're beaten, when you hear checkmate, and can finally say with Allah's voice, I trust you to kill me. Such a beautiful poem. I really love it. I've read it I don't know how many times, but it resonates with me because in every experience in life that has brought the most pain and challenge that I had to sometimes crawl my way out of, it seems, that has brought me the most understanding, the most compassion for myself and others, and I know that in that I've grown the most. So thank you for being here today. I hope to see you again. Please comment on this video if it touched you, talked to you, helped you at all. I would like to get more feedback from you. If you think this video sucks, let me know. It'll just be good. It'll be great stick beating. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Thank you for coming and being here.